Good morning. Today we are continuing the lesson that is women and sports. So the topic that we will discuss today, the methods to increase women's participation in sports. History of the women participation in sports worldwide and in our country India we have discussed in previous video. In this video, we are going to discuss the methods to increase women participation in sports in India. There are various ways in which women participation can be increased. So, first is the facilities. Changing facilities must be provided that take into account women's and girls' hygiene needs. Adequate provision for childcare should be made so that women without any hesitation can bring their children to the participation and training venues. We must ensure that all areas are easily accessible to girls and their parents. So facilities are needed. Facilities to overcome the obstacles of women's participation in sports, to remove all those obstacles by which the women are not taking part in sports activities. We must give good facilities for hygiene, for security, for child care. So this will help to women come forward to take part in sports activity. Next is coaching programs. Women should encourage and provided with the opportunity to undertake leadership positions within organizations. They must be encouraged, and this will be possible when we will motivate them, when we will provide easy coaching programs. They should be provided with good technical instructions. They must be given positive encouraging and instructive feedbacks. They should have a strong voice in program, and all concerned should maintain a flexible approach to participation to ensure their needs and hurts and met. So the coaching program should be provided which should be easily available, easily approachable, and the coaching program should be in such a way that women participant can feel comfortable. These programs should encourage and give the positive feedback to the women participant. So coaching programs are needed in adequate amount. Means adequately the coaching program should be there by which women can come forward to participate in various sports activities and various training programs. In this, women coaches should be there. which can help to avoid hesitation to a girl child or a woman. Price and affordability. Participation fee in sports should be reduced or abolished for women. This can be free for women. Concessions for traveling and boarding should be provided to women. This will help to motivate them. This will help to encourage to take part in sports activities, take part in coaching programs, take part in various competitions. So, this will help them to afford. The affordability will be increased. So, that will help the women to participate, to come forward, to take part in sports competitions, to take part in training programs, to take part in coaching programs. This will help to increase the participation of women when we are reducing the price, the fee of participation and training. Because training programs are also charge money, they are chargeable, and this should be free for women or it should be reduced. It should be under the affordability of a woman or each and every family. So this is another method which can help us to improve the participation of women in sports. Safety. Another major issue is safety. Safety of a girl child or women. Exercising in groups can make physical activities safer for women and girls. Community sports facilities should be provided with separate location for women. So there should be community sports facilities. Community sports facilities are there where in a group the coaching programs are organized, sports activities are organized in a group, and these programs help a woman to feel safe. In separate locations it should be there, separately for women only. So exercising, training and practicing, everything that should be separately for women. It should be provided safe and separate location. And the community sports facilities, community sports programs are there which can help a women to come forward and take part in sports activities. Community sports programs are organized in a community, in our own community, like villages, colonies. So this way the women can arrange her time to come forward to take part in sports activities. So community sports programs are very good for finding talent among the women and among the sports persons and increasing participation of individual, especially women, in sports. Community sports programs are considered safe and easily approachable. So next is media. Adult female have been fighting for equality with male, whether they are struggling for similar situations, similar opportunities, rights, or even sportswomen have had to battle for the self-respect that they deserve in the lifetime. So the role of media should be also there to encourage women participation in sports, to encourage women sports. The battle for equality in women or men, female player has been a problem for the country. Male sports have been accused for receiving more serious recognition in the sports they play, having more playing opportunities, obtaining higher salaries and attractive extra media coverage. So that's why this was the reason. So we can have equal focus towards the male and female sports competitions. That will also motivate the girls and women to take part in sports activities. This will help to give them a knowledge of sports and games. This will be a proper way of motivation and encouragement among the women to take part in sports activities. So, the media coverage, there should be equality in while the media is giving coverage of any sports activities. There should be equality in opportunities, equality in incentives and the money, that is incentive whatever they are earning. So there should be equality. The amount the male person is getting for the same game should be equal for the women also. So there are various examples are there where the media is giving less coverage to women participation. So this should be increased to increase the women participation in sports activities. So there are various methods education that we have discussed, that is was another cause, educating girl child, sufficient number of women coaches, priorities should be given to women, safety of girl child and women. So these all things will help to increase the women participation in sports. And spreading awareness among the people, because in society that is conservative thoughts and the traditional thoughts which are the major obstacle for a woman to come out from home and participate in various sports activities. So when we will remove all these obstacles, definitely the participation of women in sports activities will be increased. So next we will discuss about the special consideration. That these are the physiological consideration which are especially the physiological and biological changes in women's physiology. So Menarch, menstrual dysfunctions, pregnancy and menopause. These we will discuss in detail. So first we are talking about Menarch. Menarch is the first menstrual period of a girl that generally happen at the age of 12 to 14. In some of the cases, exceptions are there. Maybe it may occur before the age of 12 year, but the average age is considered 12 to 14 or 12 to 16 year of the age. So this is the first menstrual cycle, first menstrual period of a girl child. The menstrual period, what are the menstrual period, we will discuss in detail afterward. Menstrual periods are there, that is the sign of the fertility in women, means this is the women physiology. So if there is menstrual cycle, so that makes a woman to prepare for that she is able to give birth to a child. So that is known as fertility. So the first menstrual period of girl is known as Menarch. Intensive sports activities may lead to health risks to young girls, and it is reflected as an abnormal Menarch. Sometimes some intensive sports activities, they can delay the Menarch, or that is not a problem. Menarch will be there, but the girl child should be more careful about the sports activities while they are performing the sports activities. And there are various ways. Another exercises are there, another sports, the physical activities are there which can help them to balance their Menarch. So the Menarch is the first menstrual cycle of the women's life. So each and every girl and women, girl has to face this phase, and this is very important for her health and for the physiology of women. Menarch is a girl's first menstrual period, as we know. It can happen as early as 9 or up to 15, that we have discussed in previous slide. Menarch is girl's first menstrual period. It can happen as early as age 9 or up to the age of 15. During this time, girls feel tense and emotional. So special attention should be given to them at this time. As a sports person, a young woman has to take special care of herself at that time. So the Menarch is there. So we will now discuss about the menstrual cycle. Menarch is clear. Menarch is the first menstrual cycle of the women. So what is the menstrual cycle? The menstrual cycle is the regular natural change that occurs in the female reproductive system, especially the uterus and ovaries, that makes pregnancy possible. The cycle is required for the production of oocytes. Oocytes means that is the egg. And for the preparation of the uterus for pregnancy. So the cycle is required for the production of oocytes and for the preparation of the uterus for pregnancy. I will clear it then in next slide. Up to 80% of women reports having some symptoms during the 1 or 2 week prior to menstruation. So 80% of women having some symptoms before the 1 or 2 week prior to menstruation. Common symptoms include acne, tender breast, bloating, feeling tiredness, irritability, and mood changes. These symptoms, therefore, with normal life and therefore qualify as a premenstrual syndrome. These are known as premenstrual syndrome. In 20 to 30% of women, in 3 to 8%, they are severe. They have some more severe symptoms are there. So this we have discussed. Up to the 80% of women report having some symptoms during 1 or 2 weeks prior to the menstruation. Common symptoms include acne, tender breast, bloating, feeling tiredness, irritability, and mood changes. These symptoms interfere with normal life and therefore qualify as a premenstrual syndrome in 20 to 30% of the women. In 3 to 8%, they are severe. These symptoms are severe. The menstrual cycle is the monthly hormonal cycle. The menstrual cycle is monthly hormonal cycle a female's body goes through to prepare for pregnancy. The menstrual cycle is counted from the first day of current period, first day of current menstrual cycle up to the first day of the next menstrual cycle, next period. Hormone level, estrogen, that is sex hormones, estrogen and progesterone usually change throughout the menstrual cycle and can cause menstrual symptoms. So that's why the menstrual symptoms are there, because the hormone level, estrogen and progesterone, changes throughout the menstrual cycle. The menstrual cycles normally consist of 28 days. It consists of 28 days, or normally 28 to 35 days. So the 28 days cycle is shown here. Then we can see the first 5 days, this is the menstrual phase, this is the flow phase. Periods are there during this day, that is the cycle is there, and in between of this we can see the red mark is there. So this is the periods time, 1 to 5 days. And then next is, there are 3 phases are there in menstrual cycle. So this way the cycle goes for 28 days. So next cycle is the proliferative phase, which lasts about 10 days. So it lasts about the 10 days. And next is secretory phase, that phase ends 10 to 14 days. So this is normally 28 days cycle is there, and the color is shown here. 6 to 8, the color is shown here, none to very light flow, and then 9 to 12 days, that is the milky white flow, and then this is the slaty color, it is clear white or watery flow. So this is the 28 days cycle is there. The menstrual cycle is the monthly series of changes in the women's body. Then we will see the phases of the menstrual cycle. The phases, there are 3 phases. It consists of 3 phases. First is menstrual flow phase. It ends up to 4 to 5 days. During this phase, the lining of the uterus called the endometrium is removed. And this is the flow phase. The lining of the endometrium called endometrium is removed and the menstrual flow starts. It means then in the menstrual cycle, this first phase we can understand, when the ovary produces egg, and this egg is ready to be fertilized by the sperm, and if it is not being fertilized, if it is fertilized, so it will be gradually shifted to the uterus, and there will be pregnancy that will be make the system ready for pregnancy. So that ovum will be changed into the embryo, so that the pregnancy will start. If this egg is which ovary has released, that is fertilized, so that will start the pregnancy if it is fertilized. If it is not fertilized, so that time the lining of the uterus, that is endometrium, is removed. Means this egg is removed from the body, because this is now not of any use, because it is not fertilized, unfertilized egg. So that egg is removed from the body. So that is the known as menstrual or flow phase. Second is proliferative phase. It lasts for about 10 days. During this phase, the thickening of the endometrium starts and the ovarian follicles start maturing. So mature. They become mature. This phase helps the uterus for fertilization. When the rupturing of the follicle occurs, the ovum released ovulation, and thus the proliferative phase stops. So this is the preparation. The system is preparing, the ovaries are preparing and forming the egg. So the proliferative phase is there, and the system is, the follicles are getting matured and they are ready to release the egg. And end of this proliferative phase, the egg is released. Another one is secretory phase. Secretory phase, this phase lasts about 10 to 14 days. During this phase, the endometrium continue to thicken. In addition, there is an increase in the blood and nutrient supply. Means the egg is released and the system is preparing this egg ready for fertilization, providing sufficient nutrient. This phase prepares the uterus for pregnancy. Various changes arises in the system. The empty follicles, which is now called the corpus luteum, secretes progesterone, and continuation of estrogen secretion also occurs. So in this third phase, this lasts about 10 to 14 days. So in this time, the system is bringing change in the reproductive system, and the egg the ovum which is released, that is getting matured and prepared, and it is getting sufficient nutrients, and finally it is being ready for fertilization and preparing the system for pregnancy. And when the end of this phase, when the egg is not fertilized, if egg is fertilized, so then the pregnancy will start. So the system will prepare for the pregnancy. This will be changes into the embryo, and then it is fetus. So if it is not fertilized, so that unfertilized egg is ruptured and it is thrown out from the system in the menstrual phase. Again, this first phase will come. So that will be the menstrual phase, 4 to 5 days of flow phase. This is known as the menstrual cycle. Then again the first cycle will come, menstrual phase, if the egg is not fertilized. If egg is fertilized, so there will be pregnancy. So there will be no menstrual cycle till the end of the childbirth. So this is the menstrual cycle. I think it is clear. Menstrual cycle is clear. So menstrual cycle, the typical length of time between the first day of one period and the first day of the next is 21 to 45 days in young women and 21 to 35 days in adults, on an average of 28 days. Normally it occurs each after 28 days. But some variations are there, physiologically and physically variations are there, individual differences are there in each woman and girl. So sometime it may be early or sometime it may be delayed. So there are the in young women, that is adult women, this is 21 to 45 days, and young women it is 21 to 35 days. So menstruation stops in a certain age, in a that is 45 to 55 years. So when the menstruation stops, that is known as menopause. So menstruation stops occurring after menopause, which usually occurs between 45 to 55 year of the age. So this is about the menstrual cycle. Bleeding usually lasts around 2 to 7 days. The menstrual phase, the flow phase, that in some of the women it ends around 2 to 7 days. So the some basic biology we can see here, in this picture we can see here. So it's time for some basic biology, that is these are the fallopian tubes are there. So then the ovaries release egg and the sperms comes through the fallopian tubes and they fertilize the egg here. This is the ovum. The ovaries release ovum here, and then this is fertilized. If it is not fertilized, then it is ruptured and it is thrown out from the vagina, and this is the menstrual cycle. So menstruation and its phases. So then we have discussed ovaries prepare for an egg to be released. Egg is released, second phase, egg is released from the ovaries. Third is egg travel through the fallopian tubes. Uterus linings grow, egg awaits for fertilization. Fourth number, so egg is waiting for fertilization. If not fertilized, uterus linings breaks down and the periods begin. So this is the menstrual cycle, the basic biology of the menstrual cycles. So now we will discuss about the special problem faced by the women or sports person, the menstrual dysfunctions. It is disorders or irregularity in menstrual cycle. The disorders are absence of menstrual period, abdominal cramps, heavy or prolonged periods, irregular periods, delay in first menstrual period. So there are misconceptions that sports participation during menstrual could not be physiologically harmful, could be physiologically harmful. Research studies have indicated that there is no specific effect on sports performance during all phases of the menstrual cycle, because there are some special information also that is confidential, that some of the sports women have participated in Olympic also, they have done very marvelous performance during the menstrual cycle. So there is no effect of menstrual cycle that people say that during the menstrual cycle women cannot participate in sports activities. So there is no any side effect that the women cannot participate in sports activities during the menstrual cycle, or it can affect the menstrual cycle of a woman. So we will discuss all about these the dysfunctions, menstrual dysfunction, in the next video.